Burkina Faso is building. Not with promises, not with foreign blueprints, but with machines, workers, and a deliberate sense of urgency. On Monday, the 4th of May 2026, President Ibrahim Traoré stood in Ouagadougou and handed over another significant batch of vehicles and heavy equipment to the agents Faso Mebo. It was a moment that carried weight beyond the ceremony. Because what Traoré is doing with Faso Mebo is not simply filling potholes. He is attempting to rewrite how a landlocked, conflict-stricken West African nation builds itself from the ground up. To understand what this latest handover means, you have to go back to where the idea was born. Before we begin, kindly subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. In October 2024, Burkina Faso's Council of Ministers formally adopted what was then called the Initiative Presidentielle Faso Mebo. The name comes from the Moor language, spoken by the Mossi people, the largest ethnic group in Burkina Faso. Faso Mebo translates directly as the Burkina builds itself. That phrase alone tells you everything about the ideological foundation of the initiative. It is not the World Bank building Burkina. It is not China building Burkina. It is not France building Burkina. It is Burkina building Burkina. The initiative rests on two core pillars. The first is road infrastructure, constructing and rehabilitating roads using local brigades at dramatically reduced costs compared to conventional procurement. The second is urban development, paving city streets, constructing affordable housing, improving sanitation, and creating green spaces in towns that have long been neglected. The pilot phase launched in Ouagadougou, with work beginning on major avenues including the Avenue du Burkina and the Memorial Boulevard named after Thomas Sankara. By March 2025, the initiative had moved from concept to action. Traoré personally handed over the first major equipment batch to Commander Zoidnoma Ahmed Sekand, the national coordinator of Faso Mebo. That first consignment was enormous. More than 900 machines and vehicles transferred in a single ceremony, including bulldozers, hydraulic excavators, graders, concrete mixers, crane trucks, dump trucks, tankers, and compactors. The total investment cost for that first acquisition phase was estimated at approximately 200 billion CFA francs. Traoré made his reasoning explicit at the ceremony. He said that if smaller countries with fewer resources can afford to pave their rural roads, there is no reason Burkina cannot do the same. He also framed road construction as a security matter. The ongoing military campaign to retake territory from jihadist groups required good roads. Farmers, traders, and transporters needed those same roads to keep the economy alive in areas that had long been cut off. A second equipment batch followed in December 2025, split between Faso Mebo and the Military Engineering Corps. Traoré told recipients he wanted construction moving fast, and he wanted civilian brigades and military engineers working side by side on sites across the country. That dual-track approach defines how Faso Mebo operates. It is not a conventional construction ministry. In February 2026, the agency graduated 710 newly trained construction volunteers, known as VDP de la Construction. These are not just road workers. Before deployment, every recruit undergoes 3 weeks of military training covering combat tactics, weapons handling, battlefield first aid, and immediate action drills. The logic is clear. Burkina Faso's conflict zones overlap heavily with the areas that most need infrastructure. A worker who can only pour concrete is a vulnerability in a war zone. A worker who can pour concrete and defend a construction site is an asset. Also in February 2026, Faso Mebo launched a major recruitment drive for technical specialists, covering plant directors, quarry managers, electromechanical technicians, mechanics, and logistics operators. All successful candidates were required to complete the same military training before deployment. By early 2026, the agency had also expanded well beyond Ouagadougou, with regional rollouts underway in Banki and the Suru area. Local businesses in the Kaus region were donating cash and equipment just days before this latest handover. School children in Kaya were making small collective contributions from their own pocket money. This breadth of participation, from military engineers to students, is central to how the government presents Faso Mebo. Not as a government program but as a national movement. Now comes the May 4th handover, the latest chapter in this build-up. With this new batch of vehicles and machinery delivered to the agents Faso Mebo in Ouagadougou, the government is signaling that operational tempo is rising, not leveling off. The goal is to deploy new teams faster and accelerate active projects. Read that alongside everything else. The February recruitment drive, the 710 graduated construction soldiers, the regional expansion, the 2 previous equipment tranches, and the picture is clear. Burkina Faso under Traoré is systematically building a national construction force unlike anything the country has had before. The stated ambition is between 3,000 and 5,000 kilometers of road paved every single year. For context, many African nations struggle to pave a few hundred kilometers annually due to funding gaps, procurement delays and contractor disputes. Faso Mebo was designed explicitly to sidestep those bottlenecks by doing the work internally, with national workers, national equipment and voluntary community labor. Whether those targets can be hit is the honest question. Burkina Faso remains one of the most conflict-affected countries in the world. Maintaining a fleet of this scale requires serious technical capacity. Financing questions remain open. These are legitimate concerns, and they are part of a real debate inside Burkina about the pace and sustainability of what Traoré is building. But what is not in question is the scale of the commitment. 3 major equipment handovers in just over a year. Hundreds of billions of CFA francs invested. A workforce trained to build in conflict environments. A mobilization that has drawn in businesses, ministries and ordinary citizens alike. Burkina Faso has said, in more and in machinery, that the Burkina builds itself. The world is watching to see if the roads will prove it.